Hey guys, it's the 1 week hiatus edition of 810, the PretendRaceCars.net podcast, and we got a lot to talk about today. We've been gone for a week, but our site traffic has increased about 400 to 500%, due to largely in part with some of our more controversial articles that we've released in the past week or so. But before we get to that topic, we're going to get to a different sim that's come out and shocked the world out of nowhere. Chris, Dirt Rally. Out of nowhere, 2 Mondays ago. So this game's been on the market 2 weeks now. What do you think of it? Because I know I've said my piece on the site. I've really liked it. You're 50% though. So what's your take on this game?
I consider myself more than 50% because I think that there's a lot of potential in it that's untapped. And that's saying untapped is kind of like a weak way to approach it because there's a lot of things in it that are really good right now. It is rough around the edges, and anybody who's played it so far could tell you that there's some things that have to be fixed. There's a lot of things that have to still be addressed graphically. Some people are reporting slowdowns. Shaders are not perfect. These are all standard fare things with an early access game. I have issues with the way that it works. It's choppy from time to time. But when I do get it to work, the physics are really good. This is probably about as good as I've felt a rally game feel in a long time since I toyed around with RBR.
So is it going to be the RBR replacement that people want it to be?
Well, that I don't know if I'm qualified to speak about because I've never spent an awful lot of time with RBR. I guess people are going to be up in the air about it. I mean, there are some things that would make you believe it is a little bit forgiving from time to time, but you still have to drive. There's still a lot of you have to drive it correctly, all that good stuff baked into it that would make you believe that even if when it comes out and all is said and done, there's not the pure sim that everyone's looking for. There's room for people to mod it up. I know some people did mod some dirt physics and dirt cars here and there to get a more realistic experience, but what they're giving us is far and away better than what you could call dirt rally experience than what we got in Dirt 3.
Well, I think the game itself plays like if you took, the fictional Assetto Corsa disc, because we know it's only sold through Steam, but if you put Assetto Corsa and Richard Burns Rally into a blender and just kind of let whatever came out of it, you made that into a game. I think that's kind of how Dirt Rally feels. And there are some guys who have said it's Simcade and stuff like that, and man, it's not. It's the kind of the new wave of sims like Assetto Corsa and R3 where, hey, race cars aren't difficult to drive, if you know what you're doing. I think they've kind of taken that approach, especially with the tire model and some of the research they've done on it. So in the end, it is more forgiving than Richard Burns Rally, and it'll make some people say, oh, it's Simcade, it's a half sim, or like some of the French guys I've seen say semi-sim through translation. I think that's, that kind of new approach to tire models and stuff like that is going to make some of the older guys say, oh, it's Simcade. But playing it, competitively, going through the leagues and stuff that Codemasters offered, going through the league format, going through career mode, playing the game, and going through what the game's offered through the single player and multiplayer experience, it's not a Simcade game at all. This is a full-on sim. The harder you push the car, and that's something you don't get in RBR, because RBR is a game where it's just demanding. Like, RBR is not a game you can sit down and just run laps on like you can with Dirt Rally. RBR is something you'd have to practice for. It was a workout to get through a stage, whereas Dirt Rally, it's still got like the simulation side of it. It's just the new tire model, the new approach that dev teams are making now in 2015, saying, oh, race cars aren't hard to drive. With that approach being injected into Dirt Rally, yeah, it's definitely made things easier than RBR, but it's not less of a sim. It's just that new approach.
We have a lot to speak about today, and I don't think we want to spend too much time on Dirt just yet, because there's still some ways to go. There's still features being implemented, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty of time in the future to speak about it. Now, the hot topic of the week.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The big release, Project Cars, has gone mainstream. It's been released. People know about it. the gaming magazines, for better or worse, have been all over the reviews this week. It's given us a big boost. What do you think, James? Let's hear it from your own mouth. No
I
text.
have
Speak it.
I have no notes on this. I have no things I wanted to say about it for this segment. Oh God. Well, it's out, and like I said, I've played the release build because I'm an asshole and went to the Pirate Bay and torrented it. I like the radical in it. I'm not gonna lie. I actually had a lot of fun with the radical. I tried the stock car. They haven't changed it since we reviewed it. Tried the SCCA Ford Mustang Trans Am 1996. Wasn't that impressed. Tried the roof, the roof not 911 or the roof not 997, the street car. It was actually pretty impressive. Not gonna lie. Like the radical and the roof were both really like, wow, like this is pretty decent. But, and the big but, and like we've said basically throughout this entire site's existence, is there's still a game around this. They still got to make sure they fix the bugs, and we've said this in other podcasts. They got to fix the bugs. They got to make sure every car is up to that standard. There was a lot they needed to do in a short time frame, and they didn't get it done. And they didn't just not get it done. They released a game that's incomplete as fuck. This is something that you can go on just a boatload of different sites, and even some of the mainstream review sites that we've linked in our community-assisted review of Project Cars, guys are just calling it out, being like, man, this game's not done. And I guess, how do I feel, from an editor perspective, from someone who runs a site, along with you? This is great for us, because we've sat here saying that this game's going to just be, it's going to tank, and we've said this time and time again, article after article, saying, hey, look at all these, these unfinished features and lack of polish and stuff like that. This is great for our site because it gives us credibility, and all that stuff we reported on over the past couple months ended up being legit. But on the flip side, now we have the crazed WMD fanboys after us, and this is just ridiculous how just out of control this whole thing has gotten with the WMD fanboys. Because really, since I've been in competitive sim racing since about 2010, there's always that chorus of WMD guys and guys who've bought into P cars and have played it, almost religiously, saying this game's going to be the be-all, end-all of sims, and to the point where you can't go on certain sites without, P cars guys attacking you. Reddit's one of them. I haven't seen much of it on the iRacing forums. I've seen it on RaceDepartment quite a fair bit, where you can't even dare criticize this game or imply that it's not going to be the be-all, end-all of sims without someone jumping down your throat, and it's ridiculous. And just the reception we've got from running that article, where we just kind of pointed at the different community responses of guys on Steam saying, hey, this game isn't, it's not done. Here's tens of thousands of videos of glitches and stuff like that. Man, it's just insane what's erupted now that this game's on store shelves.
Well, yeah, I'll take it a little bit further. I mean, I have the coupon to buy my game. We both paid our part. We tried various different builds. We've explained this, and now I feel like we're going to take probably a lot of garbage because you said you tried out the release build, and, we're not advocating torrenting in any way, shape, or form, but Austin was curious. I'm curious, too. I'm going to a friend's house at some point this week, and I'm going to try it. I don't know what to expect from it. I don't know what will be much more different than the last time I tried it, but there's a lot of evidence out there. There's videos, of bad bugs in the game, bugs that the people who are praising this as the king of all sims, and they say this not tongue-in-cheek, but completely serious. The king of all sims have a video of an R8 at the Nürburgring just stopping its tracks in a released game. No explanation, just stops. This is from Full Speed. There's videos of cars in the rain flooring it and hitting wet, slick, painted curbs with no big deal. Something that would send you for a loop and wreck you in real life. No big deal. And people are saying that these are things that are, oh, that's just good driving. You dive into the people who say that this is an awesome game. taking this from a buddy of ours, if you look into their profiles, you find their RBR on Assetto Corsa, their times. Go look up their stats in other sims. These guys are slow. These are guys who are looking for a simcade game. These are people who are not your average sim racer. Now, we're not saying that sims, we've said we don't think sims should be extremely difficult to drive, because real modern race cars are not extremely difficult to drive. There's a reason why GT3 in Europe has rich guys driving as amateur drivers and they don't kill themselves. There's a reason for it. It's because modern race cars are built, one, very safe. Two, they're built to go fast, and everybody knows, for the most part, how to go fast. It's not a mystery anymore. Everybody knows what makes race cars go fast. Now, obviously, you might do something, there might be trends and all that, but it's all the same. Physics stay the same, always. Everybody knows what they've got. They've got a good baseline, something that they could put their driver on the track and not kill him with. That went a little longer than I wanted it to go, but I guess we could go a little bit further and let's discuss the community. You and I both did that, and my big thing is that this sets a really bad precedent for everything going forward, because you've got people who are legitimately convinced, and Empty Box said it, we've more or less said it, I said it in my article, because you've got people who paid to market this game with the promise that they would get returns back, which, if you're smart, you understand, but I don't think they understand. You would understand that any sort of investment is a gamble. And there are people who probably think that this is a sure shot that they're going to get their money back. I don't know if it's going to be. There's nothing that suggests it. It's just pretty wild to me, the whole idea that there's people who you can't go anywhere on a message board without there being some sort of PCAR spam. I know 4chan's a bad example, but across several different of their video game boards, there's people who are just posting about how great it is with no substance behind it, and if you question them, they don't answer, or you just go on at a different time or go on a day or two later, and I've seen people literally copy and paste the exact same post and post it again with a different picture. You go on Virtual R, you get comments deleted. I asked, why is it okay to take a crap on every other sim on Virtual R in the comments section, but they're just cherry picking and deleting comments from their thread, and everybody's so upset and disappointed with the community for their response about it. It's because we've been fed about 4 straight years of hearing how great this is. They released something broken, and you've got people proclaiming that it's the greatest sim that was ever released, and it's clearly not. Okay? There's many things that are wrong with it. The physics are not a simulation, and quite frankly, it's nothing like we've ever seen before. You know, we've been critical of fanboys from iRacing, but they've never reached this level to where they're hunting people down and looking up their Facebooks and, you know, saying how they want to go meet them at their house and beat the shit out of them because they don't like their sim. This is all stuff that's going on. It's a pretty bad precedent for what's supposed to be one of the better communities in gaming. I think it's just very, very, very surprising to me that you've got sim racing, who everybody was supposed to be pretty even on what we expect cars to do, behave, what we want from a game or sim, and they send it off to PC Gamer, and it's a paid interview. It's got to be a paid interview, or there's some sort of mutual benefit, because the guy says it's the most polished racer I've ever driven. Then, like a couple sentences later, says it was unplayable with a controller, but he reviewed it with a controller. So which is it? Was it polished or was it not? Was it a good game? How could you say it was a good game because you played it with the broken controller? Which is it? It's just pretty ridiculous to me.
I think the craziest thing is that I've spent basically the weekend just kind of browsing Reddit and the different subreddits like R Sim Racing or R Project Cars, and the thing I've noticed after the initial release is that the amount of glitch and bug report threads that popped up was ridiculous. I mean, this is a game that shouldn't have been released, and we even went further and looked at some of the what the devs were saying about the issues. And for example, the controller settings you just mentioned, the devs straight up admitted that yeah, we shouldn't have shipped it in this state, and we even wrote an article on that just because someone sent in where a dev actually said on the WMD forums this game shouldn't have been sent out. And what I'm looking at in the replies to these threads where it's just kids asking, hey, my game's kind of fucked up, I need help with this shit, whether it's, oh, my controller's broken or the AI's running me off the track. Instead of people acknowledging that these are glitches, you have guys in the comment section being like, oh, you're just racing the AI too hard, you should give them room on the track. Or with the controller one, there's a kid with the Xbox.
Did you reset your INI files and reinstall the game? That's a common one.
Or there's one kid, and this was several threads that popped up saying the Xbox One control issues were basically making the game unplayable. And this is something that was, admitted by a developer that, oh my god, we shouldn't have released it in this state. And again, we ran the screen caps on that. But instead of people being like, oh yeah, here's workarounds for the controller dead zone settings or whatever, there's guys saying, oh, it's a racing sim. It's not Need for Speed. It's you have to really pay attention to your lines in the corners, and you just can't throw it in there like you're playing PGR. And then 3 posts, 4 posts later, the guy's like, no, like, stop being an idiot about this. The devs admitted there's like huge controller issues. Or with the AI, this was something on the Empty Box video that he posted, just kind of referencing us a few days ago. There's in the video, basically as the race starts in the Clio Cup, an AI car just drives off the track and plows into a sign. And it's the most embarrassing thing you'll ever see. And in the comment section, one dude's saying, hey Matt, you should go to this site and report that bug. And Matt and a guy named Will Levesque, who's also a really good driver, are like, yo, but these AI issues have been a problem for like months now. And anytime it gets reported, those people are labeled whiners. So like, why do we have to report it? And the game's also on store shelves. We're done bug fixing. Like, the game's out. Oh my god, guys, But it's just sad how it's like all these huge glitches are popping up and stuff like that. And you have guys who are just like, oh, no, that's your fault the AI's messed up. Or there's a picture of a Formula 1 race at Monaco that some dude just took playing the game. Again, in RP cars, he just took a shot of the entire field junked in the casino hairpin. And instead of being like, oh god, that's a huge AI problem, we probably shouldn't have shipped the game like this and we should work on it. One dude's just like, you shouldn't have run 31 AI cars there. You should turn the AI car count down. And people are just like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, my question to you is, like, how do we clean up these shills? Because this is just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a script, but we're just not even abiding by it now. But,
Lel.
yeah. What are we gonna do to clean up this community? And it's not like it's a bad community. It's just it's taking a very weird and odd turn now.
You know what this is like? This is like when Coney 2012 was a thing, and half the people on your Facebook friends list bought into it and were like, yeah, Joseph Kony, all those child soldiers, this is terrible. We gotta do something about it. And then when you pointed out that, oh, that stopped being an issue in 2005, you'd still have all the random people on your Facebook telling you you're an asshole because you don't care about people in Africa. Like, it's like half the community just turned their brains off for a split second and became car shills, and that's all it took,
It's pretty wild. I think it's largely because there's people who have a vested interest in it. There's a vested money interest in it, and me and you bought the game too. We bought into it too. We have a vested money interest in it too.
Yo, but for real,
I didn't spend the last 4 years posting on every single forum that I could about how this is the greatest thing that has ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, when I bought P-Cars, it was like 3 a.m. after I came home from a party, and I was just like, I'm bored and don't want to play Shift tonight. I guess I could, like, pay the $20 to play P-Cars. And it's like, when I bought into it, I didn't sit there being like, I'm going to get rich off sim racing, I'm going to go to every different site and convince all my friends to buy P-Cars. It's just like, no, it's like early access. It's just not on Steam,
Yeah, I mean, I think we both pretty much had the same exact reaction, which was like, this is what we got?
Yeah.
And then we were like, maybe I'll try it again in a couple of months and it'll be worth playing again. and then you did again, and you were like, well, maybe no, maybe I'll try it again later. And I think every time I've legitimately tried it, it's been like, well, this feels like not any better or worse than iRacing. And this was like when iRacing was pretty bad too. This was back around like 2012, 2011, which was like the black hole of new tire model physics. And I was like, well, this feels no better or worse. So, whichever side you're on, you could take my comment as an insult or a compliment, I guess. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty wild. I mean, I'm gonna try out the release version at a buddy's house because, like I said, I've spent my money. I don't feel like I'm obligated to spend any more money on this. Basically, whatever. I don't even know what to say about it. Um, we've spent our money on this. You spent your money. I spent my money. There's no reason for me to go in for the full game. There's nothing there. This turned from community assisting with the way that the game is going to be made to community post screenshots for us and the same post anonymously on different websites because that's essentially what's happened. Now I know somebody will start with me and I've gotten some private messages about how, oh, well, that's not fair that you said that there's not a lot of posts about the physics. Yeah, there was 1,100 pages worth of physics posts in the Ben Collins thread, and then there's a screenshot thread with about 1,700 posts. And let's look up articles and see if they were nasty or mean about P cars. That's about what, about 1,200, 1,300 posts,
13,
pages.
yeah,
It's like,
1,300 pages, almost 1,400
yeah,
now.
yeah, it's like, yeah, there's two threads dedicated to nothing to do with the game, and the most important part of a sim is just like, there's some things. Oh, yeah, Ben Collins tested the game, but we really called him a jerk on the forums because he said that one thing about the rain being unrealistic. But we're just going to ignore that and just tell everybody that Ben Collins tested out the game. See, guys? I mean, it's just like it's just comedy. It's to the point where I'm very afraid about the precedent that it sets because this is not only do you have people being fanboys, and I went over that in a little piece that I wrote. We've gone to a point where it's now we have people who are thinking that they're going to make money, and you know what happens to people when money gets involved. It it's at a different level. It turns up to a different level. And I think it's a very, very interesting crossroads that we've crossed here because Assetto Corsa deserved to be in PC Gamer. iRacing probably was at one point, but they deserved more than what they've got. R3E deserved to be in PC Gamer. These are games that are polished. There are issues with all three games. Yes, R Factor 2 probably got some press because of the notoriety of R Factor. There are issues with R Factor 2, as the nobody knows what their timetable is kind of issues, what their plans are kind of deal. There's issues with all four of those games, but they are actually sim games. And when you show somebody Project Cars, and you show somebody it in a light and context that you're making them believe that this is what sim racing is, it sets a bad precedent for the rest of the genre because that's not a sim. It's
When
somewhere around GT and Forza. That's
well,
where it lies.
when Empty Box has to make a pre-review video warning SMS fanboys that his review isn't going to paint the game in a positive light, that's how you know we've probably crossed a point we shouldn't have, you know?
Oh yeah, because we haven't agreed with Empty Box on everything. Like, he says that Game Stock Car is the best sim ever. I don't have a problem with Game Stock Car, but I disagree. Um, he also thinks that R Factor 2 is amazing. I think R Factor 2 does a lot of good things, but to me, it's not the best. It's not the best of all the options. I think that for my money, and here I go, people are going to say how we're Assetto Corsa shills. Get ready for it. Assetto Corsa has the best physics. They don't have the best game because I wish multiplayer was better and more accessible. I think R3E has great multiplayer features, great dedicated server support, and great physics. but nobody plays the game, which is like so upsetting to me. I think R Factor 2 is great that it updates R Factor to more modern standards. I think the physics are pretty good. Some things I don't really like. I think the online structure is pretty decent because everybody knows how to use those old school style game server browsers where you don't point and click. Everybody gets that. It's pretty easy, clear. But that's another game that there's really not a lot of people playing. I don't think iRacing has very good physics at all. Some of its cars do. It's got the most complete multiplayer of anyone. What does P-Cars give you? It gives you great screenshots. I'm going to start laughing here because I'm already thinking about all the people who are going to be so mad at me tomorrow, and I feel like I'm being so objective and telling you exactly what I feel, but people are going to be mad at me because I told you guys the way I feel. It's crazy, but that's the way it is.
I guess we could move on to our next topic.
We had another?
I guess we did.
Let me go look at the script.
Oh my god.
Okay, so let's end it on this. How was your race department race, James?
Oh god. Well, I did the write-up on it, but I guess we gotta go with 4 topics each episode, right? So, all I'm gonna say is that Game Stalker, even though it's on an old engine, if you get the right people together in the right sim, any sim can be fantastic, and that's what that Game Stalker race was. I mean, it's great to be on board with Walker Racing and all the guys like Risto and Goose Verver. Just learning some of the stuff from them and being able to apply it and to compete at such a high level on a sim that is really the top of its class. I mean, Game Stalker, you may not like it, but what they've done with Niels Husinkenveld's physics and the partnership with Pirelli, that game itself, when you get 28 of the best sim racers together, that race was fantastic, and that's really important, for our site, that we placed well, that we came in the top 5, because it gives us credibility, right? I mean, you have so many guys like Michael Waltrip who commentates for NASCAR and does the grid walk and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a Spanky. He's been cup racing for 25 years, and he has 2 wins, 3 wins.
It's not like 4 restrictor plate races, and
yeah.
That's it.
So for someone like us, to be outspoken, and have this kind of blog and this kind of site where, we piss people off on a daily basis, but then to back everything up on track and compete against some of the best, I mean, a top 5 finish in the first race in a car that, basically never heard of until a month or 2 ago when I got the game, like that's huge for the site.
Well, that's what's crazy to me, too, is that I guess maybe we could, end it on this note, is that I think that one of the things that has been lost all week and in the last 4 months of our existence is that this is just our opinion. Just like you have your opinion.
Yo, okay? But opinions can be bad. Like, yes. Like everyone's entitled to be like, yo, like, Justin Bieber, that's my favorite artist, and, I prefer him over the Beatles. But if you say Justin Bieber is better than the Beatles, man, you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, if that's like just saying that like he's the pinnacle of music creativity. No, we all know that. Like, we totally get that there are people who are happy with P-Cars. Just like how we've always got that there are people who are happy with iRacing. What we don't get is that it's a very, very sad state of affairs when we see the same people, the same handful of people with the same user IDs, and then they do it anonymously, sometimes not anonymously, literally posting the same things in different places with just slight tweaks. It's like, hey, if I post it again, maybe, everybody will think it's great. But it's not a good state of affairs. We've seen this. You see this with other genres of gaming, and you don't see it with sim racing. And I'm starting to laugh again because I know how many people are going to be pissed off with me, and I don't even know why. Because it's just our opinion. Just like Empty Box makes us his video, and it's just his opinion.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy we're at the point where someone can ask for help just with a controller issue in a game, or say that, hey, my game's crashing, or hey, I got this game and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and it basically gets told to fuck off. Like that's what I've seen on Reddit over the past couple of days. Is just some dude will say something, about P cars and be like, "Hey, need help with controller? It's glitchy." Or, here's a bug I found in multiplayer, and either gets downvoted so nobody sees it and nobody helps the guy, or just gets called a troll, and that's the point we're at, and hopefully that changes.
And it's crazy. I said I don't think it's a good thing. It's like this is the petty you can't have an opinion thing. We see this with Call of Duty and Battlefield, where you've got people literally saying "Shut up, Gaylord" on Facebook on comments about everything because somebody else likes Battlefield and you like Call of Duty. It's like, no, we've said here many times that we like a lot of these different sims for a lot of different reasons. We've also said we wish there would just be one sim that could end it all and that would, be a place to unify everybody. We don't like when, like we said, we're being force-fed something that isn't good. You know?
Well, on that note, I'm gonna have to tell you to shut up, Gaylord, because we're going way past our time limit. And until next time, I'm James. That over there is Chris, and we'll see you next time on 810, the PretendRaceCars.net podcast.
We love you guys.